Welcome back to the group chat, episode number 7. We're on a roll here. We've picked up a bit of momentum.
Still alive.
We're
going.
rolling. You're joining us here. Myself, I'm going to introduce myself again, just to really lay down the law and nail it in that I'm not going to forget to intro myself. Charlie Wilson and Phil Lumen here in studio. How was your weekend, Phil?
All in all, pretty good. Huge Warriors comeback. South Africa win 1-12.
Yeah.
And then I definitely chose the right game to wake up for at 3 a.m. because Man United lost 3-0. Liverpool player of the match, Casemiro. Absolutely fantastic performance from that player. So 2 from 3, pretty good weekend. How was yours?
Yeah, not too bad. I'll tell you what, I was tired on Sunday.
Yeah.
I was very tired on Sunday. I was watching the Warriors from bed. And after that first half, I switched off a little bit. I'm not going to lie. I did switch off at halftime, and I woke up like 10 minutes to go till the end. So great timing. Got a little nap in. Got to see SJ bow out in one of the best ways you could have imagined. Then rolled that into Arsenal, which was disappointing. And then rolled that into the All Blacks.
Let's go, Bryson.
Which was disappointing. And then I woke up on Sunday morning tired as hell. So, yeah.
Naturally.
I mean, a full weekend of sport. I didn't manage to watch any of the golf. I wanted to watch the golf. But no surprises there. Scotty Scheffler racked in a cool $25 million for winning the Tour Championship.
Must be nice.
But so we're going to dive right into the sports that have happened over the weekend. We have, obviously, the Rugby Championship to break down. A little bit of NPC, some Premier League action before it goes on an international break 3 weeks into the season.
Yuck.
And we'll touch on the Warriors. Is there anything else you feel like you wanted to get off your chest or talk about today?
No, it looks good.
Alrighty. So, yeah, for me, weekend highlights was, I would say it's not so much of a highlight, more of a low light, was the Arsenal draw to Brighton 1-1 and the ABs devastatingly falling short in what was an electric game at Ellis Park, which is now not Ellis Park, it's Emirates Stadium, but it's forever going to be Ellis Park. The US Open, the tennis, the last major of the year, is shaping up to be very interesting with Carlos Alcaraz losing and Novak Djokovic also bowing out in the third round. So I had a quick look into that, and it'll be the first time in 7 years that Novak won't win a Grand Slam in a calendar year.
Wow.
And the first time since 2022 he'll drop out of the top 3 rankings. So
whoa.
That's dominance. What else is dominance is this is going to be the first season since 2002, dating back to 2002, that no member of the big 3 in tennis, Roger Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic, will go without a Grand Slam.
Oof.
22 years in the making, that record was.
End of an era, that.
So, yeah, I don't know. The torch has obviously been passed to Carlos Alcaraz, but we're going to have a new Grand Slam winner. Obviously, Djokovic won't defend his title. But I also want to stick on the tennis route because I did play some pickleball this weekend.
Oh.
Have you played pickleball before?
No.
You know what pickleball is?
Yes.
Mate,
roughly.
It is so much fun. It's so good. So if you think about the tennis boxes where they serve into on the tennis court, it's literally just played in that area, about that size. And you've got your bat and ball. The bat is like if you play beach tennis, the beach tennis bats. Yeah. And then an indoor hockey ball, like the uni-hock balls.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. And it is so fun. It's good. Like you can whack it as hard as you can and it's going to find a way to get in. It's good for all skill levels, which is great.
Yeah.
All ages. But I had heaps of fun playing that. I played that Saturday and Sunday.
So what's the difference between that and tennis then?
So it's smaller, obviously.
So you're just playing in this where you have to serve in tennis? Is that how small the...
Yeah, essentially. It is its own court.
Yeah.
So it's not played on the tennis court, but essentially is that same size of the serving boxes in tennis. and you serve diagonally, you can only score points on your serve. So if we were playing and I'm serving first, you can't score a point. You have to win to then get the serve to score a point. I believe it's first to 11.
Yeah, it's a bit how squash used to be. Squash rules, you used to only be able to score off your own serve, and they changed it because the games took so long. Yeah,
well, I found that because we were playing without actually knowing the rules, and we were just like, it's breezing past. And then as soon as we searched it up, those games took twice as long, naturally, because you got to win twice as many points.
Yeah.
But that was heck of fun, and you're going to catch me on the pickleball all summer long.
Nice.
So that was cool. I would highly recommend playing.
Noted.
If you haven't played pickleball already, play some pickleball. And I've just been non-stop talking about it all weekend. And pickleball was fun to say.
Yeah.
If you could guess, where do you think pickleball, the name, originates from? Because I had a theory, and it was totally wrong.
Some human with the last name Pickle. He was playing... he was a squash player back in the 90s. He retired. And he started playing tennis, and he said, tennis is fun. It's nice to be outdoors. Just doesn't feel right. Let's get a bit of small court agility going.
Sick of running too much, probably in tennis?
Probably. Yeah. But, you run a lot in squash as well. But, he's retired. So then he goes, all right, we're going to grab an indoor hockey ball. We're going to grab a beach racket, and we're just going to hit the ball and see what happens.
And his last name was Pickle.
Yeah.
Is that...
Or her.
True.
Jessica Pickle, ex-squash player. Yeah, something like that.
Is that a fact? Ex-squash player called Jessica Pickle?
No.
I thought you just pulled that out of thin air. That would have been... No, I thought tennis being the cucumber.
Right.
Pickleball.
Small.
Being the smaller version of a cucumber. Okay. Pickleball is the smaller version of tennis.
Then why not just call it pickle?
Yeah, that...
You don't call it tennis ball.
Hit the dead end. But no, I
don't mind it.
It either comes from this guy and I think it was his boat. They were playing something on, and his boat was called Pickle.
And then close.
The other one was there was just the dog. The family's dog name was called Pickle.
Oh, okay.
So that's where pickleball is. But we're going to stick on the electric sort of feelings we feel that I felt playing pickleball, and we're going to go to Johannesburg. We're going to go to the All Blacks versus South Africa, and we're not going to start where we think we start.
Oh.
I want to start with just how great an atmosphere that was, how sick that whole event was. South Africans do rugby right. I feel like there was, 60,000+ people in the crowd. It sounds like they have a party before, they have a party after.
Definitely. See the massive jugs of beer, insane.
Someone was dressed up as Drickus du Plessis in the crowd. Did you see that?
Yeah.
The Pit Vipers on, his shirt off.
Yeah.
But did you ever get a chance to go to a test match when you've been in South Africa? Doesn't have to be South Africa All Blacks, just a test match in general?
Yeah, I think both in Cape Town and also, what is it called? The one in Durban, Sharks Stadium, the one there.
Who'd you watch?
Insane. I can't really remember. I want to say maybe Australia or New Zealand. But the depth of the stadium in Durban is crazy. What do you mean the depth? If you're in the bleachers, it's just so steep.
Yeah, because they build the stands up, right?
Yeah.
It's like vertical stands rather than it's on the angle.
You're bird's eye view, almost watching ants. It's so cool. Weird, and it's a cool view, but you feel like you're going to fall over. It's just that steep, which I imagine a lot of college football and NFL stadiums are because you get to a certain height and it's just okay, this is
cooked.
This is weird. Yeah.
But it's the building it vertical, I believe, is what it does there, right? The stands go vertical up rather than the stadiums here where you just keep going further back.
Yeah, more rounded.
Yeah. But I can imagine being on the field as well.
Yep.
Because they're close to the action. And if you're looking up and you're seeing fans up there, it must feel just like they're on top of you the whole time.
Yeah. I imagine Ellis Park is built very similar to that. Just being that, 60,000 capacity.
So having been to Cape Town, what do you expect this weekend? Similar atmosphere? Are they that crazy about it as they were in Joburg?
I don't think so. It will still be a good atmosphere, but I do think All Blacks will have a lot more fans in Cape Town.
Okay.
So they'll have a lot more people backing them.
Yep.
They won't receive the sort of noise that they got in Johannesburg, the people blaring,
They pretty much
the music,
drowned out the haka.
The fireworks, the plane coming over. I don't think you'll have all those theatrics, but it'll be equally, as good in terms of a spectacle, I reckon.
The plane flyover, impeccable timing if you're a South African fan, because that's right during the middle of the haka.
Yeah.
So you've got the flyover of the plane making all that noise. You got the crowd making all the noise.
Then you had the music blaring.
The music, everything going on while the All Blacks are doing the haka, and it just drowned it out.
Yeah, I don't think that was intentional because they have, a few people saying, that's disrespectful and all that sort of stuff. Which I think, aside from the cheering, having the music was a little bit. But
it was just a little bit over top, maybe.
Yeah, they did. But the music was to coincide with the plane flying over, which was also leading into the fireworks with the plane flying over, and it was just bad timing.
Also tough to time like if the All Blacks are doing the haka, and you're just like, hang on, can the massive Boeing 777 just pause there for a second? Like,
just stop midair, please.
Yeah. Tough to time that. I never thought of it in a disrespectful manner. I think the South Africans, especially within rugby and towards the All Blacks, there is a certain level of respect there, especially towards the haka and everything. Like,
I don't think it was intentional, but when you have the plane flying over, you have to do everything else that you scheduled and planned to do when the plane flew over, I guess. But at the same time, with the crowd was always going to chant. They were always going to challenge the All Blacks challenge of the haka. They were always going to shout back at them and have their ole, ole, ole. Oh, that was always going to happen, but it was just crazy timing. It was just so weird. I've seen nothing like that before.
And the game really did live up to expectations. I thought, aside for the officiating, which we'll get into, I thought it was a fantastic game of rugby. It was sick. Like, the All Blacks probably dominated, I don't know, 80, 90% of that game. But the South Africans always felt like, even when they were down 3 tries and facing a bonus point loss, or the All Blacks facing a bonus point win, never really felt like they were out of it.
No.
What do you think?
I think...
Ooh.
There was some... I have to bring it back to the referee's calls, because there was... From the get-go, already, I was complaining. I was like, I just couldn't understand the calls. I couldn't understand the yellow card.
From a neutral perspective?
From a neutral and a fan perspective. I couldn't understand the yellow card on Fussy. I couldn't understand the kick. Piranara? Was it the kick restart?
Oh, okay. Let's just get started on this then, because the kick restart was part of... You're talking about the one that went out on the full, and it hit Rieko Ioane. Wasn't it Geordie?
It was Geordie or Rieko. It bounced off one of them.
Riko's shoulder.
Yeah, and then there was the argument, no, it hit Orense first, and then it went, okay, so then it's a knock-on, then why are we going back to this? I just didn't really understand that call either, and that was I think the yellow card had already happened. I was already questioning that, and my mates were like, nah, it's legit. But already I just sensed like these calls were just not feeling right. There was a few things that just didn't really make sense.
No.
And then up until the Mbonambi try, that's when it was apparent that there were just calls going into disarray. But obviously all the Kiwi fans only started being like, oh, what the hell, from that point.
Yeah.
But I was saying from a more neutral sort of, obviously I was backing the Springboks, but from a more neutral perspective, like some of those calls, I was like, it's not really making sense to me.
Yeah. No, the referee, Andrew Brace, I felt like from the get-go, and annoyingly so, carried on from the Arsenal game, both referees were trying to make it about them. Like, it was their show. They want to have their impact on the game, which grates me. Yeah. When a referee is trying to take control of the game in a way
a little too much.
Yeah. Obviously, have control, and, but let the players play, do your thing. Don't make the game surround you as the referee. I think
it's too big of an occasion.
Yeah, if a referee is doing a good job, usually they'll go unnoticed. When you're noticing the referee that often.
Yeah.
No. And speaking of that call, the ball being kicked out on the 4th, the restart, when in the world of TMO and video and all that sort of stuff, if we can go back and look at that kick restart to make the right decision, and I do believe they probably got the decision right there according to the rules, with the ball hitting Rieko Ioane on the shoulder, but his foot was on the line when it hit him, which does mean the ball's out off the restart.
Right, because he was already out of play.
Yeah, correct.
Right, I didn't see the foot out, but if that's the case, then fair enough.
Yeah, so that's when they got it called back to then have the scrum on halfway.
Yeah.
Because they were about to set up for the line out, and then they went upstairs.
Yes. They were already setting up for the lineup.
In what world
Yeah.
do you make sure you get the correct call on a kick restart, but not have a second look at a try being scored off a line-out maul where there's so many little infringements anyway that I've said before, you can pick apart every line-out maul and say there's a penalty of some sort.
Yeah.
How do you not then take a second look at that try?
Mm.
And it's just that...
Do we know that they didn't review it, though? And the TMO was okay with it?
Well,
I know
World Rugby have not said anything.
No, of course not. The try was given by the ref.
Yep.
The TMO would still do their checks, but it wasn't to the point where they had to tell the ref no try or whatever, or like there's a potential knock on here, we're reviewing it. They obviously checked it, had a quick glance at it, and they're like, yep, cool. For whatever reason.
Then they've just fully screwed it up.
No, 100%. And that's probably why World Rugby hasn't said anything. On first glance, I would say that's a knock on.
Yeah.
I can see where the argument comes into play if you're defending it as to why it's a try.
Tell me. Because I can't see anything other than a knock on.
Geordie Barrett making the tackle, knocking the ball backwards into Mbonambi.
Out of his hands.
But the ball doesn't actually... So there is separation from the tackle, but he lands on the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, the ball hasn't been knocked on, hasn't been travelled forward. Geordie Barrett actually hit the ball back into Mbonambi.
So would you still call that a try then? Considering to score the try, there needs to be controlled pressure downwards. You need to be in control of the ball.
I think there was definitely controlled pressure. There was separation, though.
So if the ball's been knocked out of his hands, how does he have control?
Because when the try is scored, there was downward pressure.
Okay.
So the ball wasn't lost forward.
Yeah.
By the time the ball was over the line, he had regained control again. But This is what I'm saying. I would give that as a knock on.
Yeah.
But I can see the arguments that would be, no, he didn't knock the ball on. It was hit out of his hands, but then he regained it before going over the try line again. So, yeah. As I said, bad officiating all round.
Yeah.
But obviously that's going to be the highlight. I mean, you could also look at Sam Cane hit on Sia Khaleesi. I don't know if you saw that.
Mm-hmm.
Shoulder to the cheekbone. Sia Khaleesi actually had to go off the field.
He might not play this weekend.
Wasn't even looked at.
No, I know.
In what world is that not a yellow card, So there's lots of instances where... And I also don't agree that All Blacks lost because of that try. They were 10 points ahead with 15 minutes to play and you lost that lead.
I think it was very uncharacteristic of the All Blacks. And we've kind of seen All Blacks of the past.
Yeah.
To get dominated in the last 10 minutes. Usually we're the team that is the fit enough team. The 10 minutes at the end, we dominate because the
always scoring in the 80th minute, always scoring in the 82nd minute.
And South Africa's game plan was bomb it high, put pressure on us, and win the ball back in our 22, and they nailed it.
And at Ellis Park, that ball does fly.
Oh my goodness.
The hang time is crazy with that air pressure.
I do agree with you. I don't think... If you look at the numbers, yes, you take away 5 points, we win that game.
Yeah.
I don't think that was the moment that lost us the game. No chance. The yellow card, probably, with Uffa going off. I mean, when you're playing the last 10 minutes against that South African team, executing that plan with 14 men, it was inevitable.
Yeah.
I think at that point, you're like, I could see
South Africa will probably score here and then start running away with it,
And also our plan to counter it. You think we need to try and score here. We keep kicking the ball away. Beauden Barrett's kicking the ball away.
Yeah, there was a bit of force back for some reason. I don't know.
Why aren't we keeping the ball in our hands and trying to score?
Even when South Africa took the league, we were like kicking the ball back, trying to keep it into your territory.
Yeah, I thought that was weird. And the commentators were like, they're going to keep the ball here. They've bombed it. But I rate the plan. They're sticking to it. And it worked.
Did. Especially when you have Beauden Barrett kicking the ball out on the full.
I reckon Andrew Brace took it personal on that call on TJ Perenara. And after that 50-22, and then the South African players lying all over the ruck, I believe TJ trips over him, and he goes...
Well, he actually pushes... Who was it? He pushes the forward into that direction and then complained about him rolling in that way as if that was the path.
Because he's trying to milk the penalty, which is what he does.
Which is what all number 9s do. Yeah. But then I think to then go and start... I don't know what he said at the ref, but also
I think it was, what the fuck was that?
Right.
I don't think it was directed right at the ref, being like, why haven't you called that? It was more of like what is that in terms of the situation?
But he was very much looking at the ref and yelling at him, to be honest. Yeah. However, to then usually that's a stern warning or something. But
blow
to
the
just
penalty
be like,
straight away. I think he's taken that personal and being like, nah,
you're not talking to me like that.
you're not getting a single call back for the rest of this game. And it showed because the penalty count was 15
You will be
4.
much 10.
Like, I don't know. I think besides the officiating, and I don't want to bang on about it because I thought the game was actually...
It was a great game.
It was a great game to watch. I would love to have been there.
Yeah.
That would have been sick.
Yeah. So much high energy. The DJ was just having the time of his life. Like, there was just music whenever he could play. He was just jamming it. And I think ultimately with the level, like Rugby Championship level, international level, you just want consistency. So hopefully Cape Town, we see a bit more of that.
Do you think Joburg or Ellis Park, or what was Ellis Park, is one of the hardest places in world rugby for an away team to go and get a win?
Well, it's not as hard as Eden Park, is it?
Eden Park,
50 in a row.
Yeah, would that be number one, Eden Park? But I think the atmosphere, like at Eden Park, compared to Joburg, like I think as an away team,
can't compare.
You'd feel more confident going into Eden Park, despite the record and the All Blacks record at Eden Park. Then going into Ellis Park and the intimidation factor of that.
Yeah,
I mean. For some of those guys that haven't played a lot of Test rugby, that is a hell of an environment to get yourself stuck in.
100%, and also the change of the air pressure and stuff when you're playing at that level, the way the ball changes, the amount of hang time that allows these rapid wingers to just absolutely nail you as soon as you catch the ball.
They are quick.
It just does change the game a little bit, and it was probably one of the more entertaining games of rugby of recent. And
I'd say it's top 3 hardest places to go to.
Yeah,
for sure. Eden Park, Ellis Park, and somewhere else.
Who
knows? But I would say. And what about the Aussies getting the win over in Buenos Aires?
Yes, the penalty in the last minute of the game gets the 1-point win, 2019.
Yeah.
Looked like it was pouring down with rain there.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, Australia finally get their first win.
Much needed win. Winning streaks as well. The 3 undefeated teams in the NPC all remain undefeated. But there will have to be a loser this week as the Marcos are going to head to the Bay to challenge for the Ranfurly Shield. Who do you see coming out on top there? We just had a look. Tasman are $1.60 favourites.
Yeah.
And I
can't say I'm too surprised by that. Tasman dispatched Bay of Plenty, who have been pretty solid this season.
I mean, I was confident in Tasman. I took the minus 9.5.
Yeah.
So go ahead and win by 10 points. Up the Marcos.
Hawke's Bay winning by 11 points against Manawatu. Manawatu aren't overly strong this season, I thought.
No.
They are decent, though.
They've given the scares. They gave Wellington the scare. And then they were up against Hawke's Bay as well. Hawke's Bay had to dig in and come back, didn't they?
But at the same time, also lost to Northland. So,
yes,
I can. I back the. What did you say? 160 for Tasman. I think they'll. I think they'll get the job done. I think they're too good. I think it'll be a good game. I think it'll be a close one. But Tasman will probably pull away with it.
So that will be Tasman's first Ranfurly Shield win
ever.
How
good?
Since the merger of Nelson, Bays, and Marlborough coming together in 2006. It'll be their first Ranfurly Shield win. And they're already planning with the Nelson City Council a Ranfurly Shield parade. So, is that confidence or is that confidence?
That is confidence.
Up the Marcos. Take the Ranfurly Shield down to Nelson. And then the Lions are going to storm in and take it right off you and bring it back to Wellington the week after.
Too true.
Wellington and Tasman, your 2 undefeated teams going into next week. Wellington are going to steamroll Southland.
Yeah, probably. The way Southland have been playing.
So we'll just leave the 2 of them, and then we'll go down to 1 the week after when Tasman do take on Wellington. So that'll be an interesting couple of weeks in NPC.
Potentially.
The other interesting part is Auckland can't win. They're loaded with Super Rugby players.
No.
Yet they're still winless.
No.
Why can't they win? What is going wrong with Auckland?
And if you didn't take Waikato at $2.50, you're missing out. I don't understand how they were underdogs there. They are in disarray, Auckland, I feel like.
And I love to see it.
North Harbour, they're in for a chance. North Harbour had a disappointing loss to Counties Manukau. Also, weird call in that game.
I didn't see.
Towards the end, North Harbour had the ball, making their way towards the try line. The call was not held up. It was something else. Before the line or something. The ref had made a call.
Double movement?
No, it wasn't even double movement. I can't remember what the call was.
What was the result of the play? Like, how did it turn out?
The result was a call was made.
Yep.
It was play on. She was like, no, that's before the line. And then 3 seconds later, it was, that's held up. So it was the same ball carrier. So I don't know what happened within that 3 seconds for it to be stopped before the line to then say, oh no,
was
it's
there any
now
more
held
drive
up.
Forward through the ruck?
Well, there must have been. There must have
forward?
been.
So what? They got a goal line dropout in the end.
County's got the ball. Game over.
Oh.
So I think that was
right at the end of the game.
was the end of the game.
Oh.
So I'll have to relook at it. But first time watching it, I was like, hold on, you've just made a call and then you've just changed it to then saying held up when it's the same ball carrier. So unless it was a double movement, but then you would say double movement, not, okay, the ball's held up. Like, I was just a little bit confused how that ended. But nonetheless, County's man a goal.
Similar to that 85s final, how that resulted.
That was a weird one.
Yeah, they held up over the line 10 minutes after the game was meant to be done.
Yeah, that was defending for 10 minutes too long. Luckily, still got the win.
How about them Waz, though? What a way to send off Shaun Johnson.
What a comeback.
Scripted, directed, and produced by Shaun Johnson. Has to be one of the more poetic things I've heard come out of an NRL match in terms of the commentator.
I'm so happy with how that ended, man. I mean, we did turn it off at halftime initially.
I did.
I did as well. We didn't go to sleep. We were just hanging out, and then there was just, I don't know what it was, but I think we had calmed down. We were so enraged by that first half and so disappointed that we turned it off, and then the halftime break allowed us to sort of calm down and chill. And we're like, you know what, let's check the score. So we missed the 2 disallowed tries from the Sharks, but what we did see was DWZ scoring in the corner.
Yes,
so we're like, oh, that's a positive. That's nice. And then he scored again. And you're like, oh, what the hell? And then we scored again. I think it was Montoya or Charles Michael-Coxstad scored. It was just back to back to back. And all of a sudden, we've taken the lead. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
We're on for something here. And then I think Sharks got the lead back and we're like, bugger. Metcalf missed the drop kick. Bugger.
Because it was 22-4 at halftime, and then 28, 26, Sharks led.
Yes,
before we missed the drop goal.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Or it was like 24-22 at one point.
Yeah.
Anyway, ended up winning 30-28. But I thought when Metcalf had missed that drop kick, I was like, oh, was that our chance gone? But then no, Sharks knocked the ball on. Idiots. We get the ball back. I'm like, oh, we're going to set up for another drop kick. No, we run it all the way until fifth tackle.
Nope.
A little touch and go, like honestly, like touch rugby, like swing pass out wide.
They played some of SJ's touch highlights.
And he just stepped.
Oh,
did they?
If you saw those, yeah. It was just like going back to his roots, the touch player up and on.
That's what it felt like. It just felt like a touch
the wide ball,
yeah.
skipping 3 guys out.
Literally 30 seconds left on the clock. Last tackle.
How elite! 3 try assists, couple line breaks.
I think just with the whole occasion, that's probably,
Did he get man of the match?
One of the best wins. Should have. He had 3 try assists.
Yeah.
Putting in some insane little grubbers in behind the line, which is good to see. Not the usual bomb down the right edge that we always see.
Yeah.
So it was just a good game, man. Good comeback.
I do, however, I'm not sure how I feel about everyone saying you couldn't have scripted it better. I do agree in terms of the game. You could have scripted it better. But for the season as a whole, if it was scripted, you're scripting them. He's doing that in the grand final. Unfortunately,
well, you couldn't script the last game of the season for the Warriors much better than a huge comeback like that.
Yes. I am going to miss the Warriors signs this year, the fan signs, because they have been top tier. With my 2 highlights being
incredible.
The Hock to Ivasashik,
and
the Shaun Johnson's partner having the I still get to play with Shaun Johnson sign. I'm going to miss those for another year, but. Yeah,
it started something. You see a lot more signs now.
There's
even
been some
in the
good
rugby
ones.
Union sort of fixtures. That's good.
I rate it, and
see.
You can see the fans are actually starting the movement. It gets on social and it goes viral on social, and then some of the other, even the the Warriors jumped onto the Hoktui Vasashek after they saw the sign. And
they did. Did that real
good from the fans.
How about that? Speaking of comebacks, that Bournemouth comeback.
Yeah, should we get into some Premier League?
I think we have to.
I was stoked about that because I did my first tip sheet for the Premier League, and I just tipped Bournemouth to win straight up.
Oh, jeez.
So I looked at that score because I was watching the Arsenal game, and I was like, oh, God. Everton, you're going to get your first win here.
They started as...
Good on you guys. Go get your first win.
Yeah. Couldn't have started better. And you go, congrats, 2-0 up. They needed that. They needed to start like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you feel like they just switched off a little bit.
I don't know when they're going to get their first win.
Well, they'll get their first win if they only play 86 minutes of a game. The Premier League goes, no, we're not playing 90 anymore. We're playing 87.
So that'll be a Bournemouth three-peat for comebacks of the year. They've won it the last 2 years, comebacks of the year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's an award that the Premier League gives out.
I didn't know that.
Be because no other team is going to come back from 2-0 down with 3 minutes left in normal time. I think it's the latest a team has ever been down 2-0 and come back and won.
What was it, 87th minute? Yeah. 90 plus 2 and then like 90 plus 4 or something ridiculous.
Yeah. So they're getting 3.
Insane comeback.
They got the three-peat.
Yeah. I got rid of Pickford in my fantasy too.
Nice, good call.
Yeah. Because I've been playing Leno anyway, but Pickford was my sub. But even as a sub, I'm like, you're gone. Yeah. He was just caught in no man's land. Mm-hmm. I don't know what he was thinking. And it's really sad to see Everton on this steep decline. Just when you thought maybe they'll pick things up. We thought they'll go all right this season. We're only 3 games in, but... Yeah.
I hoped they'd go all right, but it also did sort of feel a little bit inevitable with... I don't know.
It's a lack of like motivational care to stay in front. You saw with that cross in, when you're up 2-0, all those defenders were jogging. No effort to close that ball down or just stop the cross. Mm-hmm. And then Bournemouth get up for it. And not only get up for it, they then scored 2 more after that. I just think, insane.
Good on you, Bournemouth. And what about Liverpool putting 3 past United? How are you feeling about that? Are you worried for Ten Hag?
As I said, I'm glad I chose the right 3 a.m. game to get up for. Yeah. And the Springboks rather than the Liverpool. But, jeez.
I don't think it is as bad as it's being made out to be. I think Ten Hag still has a bit of...
Not.
Like, the new players, they're going to be bled into the side. They're going to start,
Yes.
Like you see, they're going to pick it up over a while. But
yeah, still a few injuries, sure. We've got a few signings still needing some game time, but Casemiro, I don't know. I think there was issues with the formation standing up against Liverpool as well, going in a 4-2-4. We got dominated in the midfield.
Yep.
Every goal we conceded came from a midfield error. Every single one. Yeah, Casemiro passing the ball.
Both Casemiro, right?
Casemiro passing the ball in the first one. Casemiro then getting pushed off the ball, and then Mainu getting pushed off the ball. All in the midfield.
Yeah.
All our mistakes.
Yeah.
And Mohamed Salah basically capitalizing off all of those.
I heard the commentators talking about how aerodynamic he is since he's cut his afro off. Did you hear that?
Since the buzz cut, yeah.
Out the gate. That's like, the afro was holding him back.
Yeah.
Now he's aerodynamic and he's electric again.
Yeah. But you're right, though. It's not as bad as
everyone. It's not all doom and gloom.
But you don't want to lose 3-0 against a rival like that. No. You want to be competitive. And we had our opportunities. We came close, but we ultimately didn't score. And 3-0 looks
I think
horrible.
That takes the aggregate in your last 6 games against Liverpool to 18-5.
Yeah, because that's 7-0 as well. Yeah, it's not good.
No.
And also, it is very much falling on Ten Hag at this point now because it is very much, pretty much all of his players.
Yeah.
Like 5 or 6 ex-Ajax guys he can't really have. It's very much trying to get that success back that he had at Ajax. And these are his guys that he trusts.
It's not the same, though. It's not the same league. You can't just rinse and repeat what you're doing with
They're
Ajax.
Also, De Ligt wasn't the same as he was at Ajax. That was his breakout. He needs to get back to that sort of form, and I think he can. But, not great. Pretty disappointing. Almost as disappointing as that draw to Brighton.
Yeah, I was going to say, just because I do want to we are getting into an international break 3 weeks into the season, that is shocking. And I just want to get a couple of teams that have surprised you in either a negative or positive way. But just before we jump into that is the worst red card I've ever seen before.
But also,
yes, it's a yellow if he's not on a yellow.
Yeah.
That is not a red cardable offence to give you your second yellow. Come on, especially after João Pedro in the first half. Boots the ball down past halfway after a foul's been given. And, it's the first half. He's not going to get a yellow because we're in the first half. Oh, my goodness. Yes, don't get me wrong. Stupid from Declan Rice.
Very silly from Declan.
Don't put your team. You're a leader in that team. Don't put our team in that position.
That was crazy from him. Yeah,
but also, that's not a red cardable offense. Come on now.
It's an interesting one. I thought, yeah, that's probably a rough second yellow.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, what are you doing? Like, that's embarrassing.
No,
and especially when the Brighton player's right there wanting to play the ball quickly, it's just unfortunately quite obvious.
Yes.
And then you're rolling around on the ground crying. It's like, man.
And when we're trying to bid for a title,
yeah.
I mean, Declan Rice is going to miss the next game. Thank God he's back for the Man City game in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Or in 2 match weeks times.
Yeah.
But if we're really serious about going for this title, we win that game if Declan Rice stays on.
Well, 100%. I don't think Brighton get back into the game.
Straight away. 5 minutes later, they score.
Yeah, Brighton got a new sort of level of confidence and were way more keen to sort of have a breakaway and try score and get not only that, but try win the game, and they almost did.
They almost did. We almost won the game as well, but purely just through counterattacks.
Yeah.
Like, we were defending.
Purely counter, yeah.
And we countered twice, I think, and we nearly scored on both of them.
I think the first thing was just to try not concede, and then when you guys did concede, you're like, shit, we have to now counter.
Yeah, Arteta's come out and said he didn't adjust quick enough. 5 minutes to adjust, you'd say, is not a lot of time. But if you're getting paid the big bucks, you're the manager of a top 6 team, you got to be able to coach and make that adjustment. So he's taken on that criticism. Declan Rice is
Ten Hag has not taken on that criticism. We won trophies.
So before the international break, so you're 3 weeks into the season, 3 teams or players. What are some 3 surprises you've seen? Well, that's kind of,
just when like the Premier League was building up and you're really starting to enjoy it, they got to throw an international fixture in there.
Yeah, come on.
Also, is Declan Rice worth 100 mil? I'm not so sure.
That's a completely different conversation.
No, it is 100%. But just while we're talking about him and his theatrics, 100 million for Declan Rice is crazy. At the same time, we spent 80 mil on Anthony, which is way, way worse. So I can't really say anything on that.
I think in terms of the market, where the market is at the moment, he is a $100 million player.
I'm not sure that he is.
I think if we look back before
Rice.
The market had been inflated, you're probably not getting anywhere near.
Sure.
But just the way everything is at the moment, I'd say he still was probably worthy of the 100 million.
3 players?
Well, just surprises.
3.
Like, for me, Ollie Watkins has surprised me. Because...
At how average he's been?
Yeah. He has the worst expected goal rate in the Premier League.
He did get an assist this week, thank God. I almost chucked him out. At least the assist keeps him in my team for now.
But, like, he had, an unbelievable season last year. Got the England call-up. Scored that goal in the Euros. Like, he's on a high. He's going upwards. And he's come out the gates. And his match fitness, his confidence, like that, he should have scored in that game, but he decided to take the keeper on.
I think he should have scored in all 3.
Oh, he could have scored. If he beats David Raya on both his chances against Arsenal, Arsenal are looking at a 1-2 start to the season. But Ollie Watkins has surprised me about how poorly he started the season. But Aston Villa are still
looking all right. They're looking all right.
If they can turn it around, if Ollie Watkins can find a little bit of form, Aston Villa are definitely gonna be up there.
Yeah. And maybe it is that whole like international thing coming late back into the team. He's not fully there yet.
Yeah, maybe. But so Ollie Watkins.
Well, they got Everton next, I think. So
if there is a chance, if there's ever a calling for Ollie Watkins
hat trick. Here we go.
Your chance here. But yeah, I just think his confidence is down, and his match fitness is low. So that surprised me. What else has surprised me is Liverpool have not missed a beat. I think Slot's come in. The team is firing. They're looking good. And then
better than I thought, yeah.
Everton is just my other surprise. They're quite clearly worse than I originally. I think I picked them going into the season sitting at 16th. They're quite clearly the 20th best team.
Yeah.
In the Prem.
I'm also very shocked. I thought they would be, decent.
Yeah. And
3 weeks in, they are anything but. So I agree that Everton is a surprise. Who else? Haaland scoring 7 goals already has surprised me.
That is a surprise?
It is. I didn't think he would live up to his 15 mil. He's obviously an insane player. I thought maybe Man City would be a little bit slower coming back into the season with, all the international business going on. And, you had Phil Foden coming in late. I was like, he's not really getting any game time. And
yeah.
Although at the same time, they've had a fairly easy start.
They have. But I mean, they're making the most of it, right? It's going to be interesting to see how Haaland goes in this international break because I believe they're playing someone and then Austria.
Yeah.
So he'll have Odegaard feeding him.
Yeah.
But he can, he already is an out and out just goal scoring machine. But if he continues to score for Norway, keeps their momentum in, oh boy, he might be breaking his own record this season.
Yeah, I think the reason why I say it surprised me is just because they seem relentless.
Yeah, I think it's just that, I said it in the last podcast, that piece of imperfectness about them. They're actually going out there, they play a bit of creative football. Yeah. They're just having fun. You know? Like, who cares?
It looks good, but they're not impenetrable.
No.
If you can stop them from scoring, you can definitely get a win out of them because, as we can see, like Ipswich scored, West Ham scored, both scoring first, wasn't it? So, West Ham was
made it 1-1.
1-1. Yeah. So not impenetrable, but their attack is insane.
Tell you what, the Man City Arsenal game for Arsenal already feels like a must-win if we want to be in contention for the season.
I don't think
we have to win that game.
I don't think you can afford to drop points at home like you did with Brighton.
No,
like that's how good Man City are right now.
Yeah, so that's already feeling like a must-win into match week 5 of the season. So
yeah,
scary times. What else has surprised you?
Probably Brentford and more particularly Mbeumo. I do rate him. He is in my fantasy team.
Yep.
Sitting at 3 goals.
Yep.
They are doing better than what I anticipated. Obviously, Ivan Toney is being shipped out.
Out to Saudi, baby. He's
out
chasing
to Saudi.
that bag.
But between him and Visser, they're looking all good. Got the win over Crystal Palace.
They have surprised you because you had Brentford being relegated, didn't you?
I did.
So
there's still a chance. Look, all it takes is one injury.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
If you don't have Mbeumo or Visser in that discussion, I think they become a little bit worried. Got the 3-1 win over Southampton, and then they also, 2-0 loss against Liverpool.
Yeah, like I said, Liverpool firing on all cylinders.
They lost 2-0 to Liverpool. Man United lost 3-0. So as far as I'm concerned, Brentford is above Man United right now. Yeah, Mbeumo. I think he'll be good this season.
Impressed by him. Well,
hopefully he can stay fit and keep that connection with Visser, and Brentford will be well on their way to not being relegated.
I'll tell you what comes as no surprise. Joey Chestnut is now the 16 times world champ and hot dog eating.
Whoa, no surprise.
No surprises there. He managed to down 83 hot dogs in the space of 10 minutes to beat his own record without dunking it. So no water involved.
What?
Yeah, crazy. Joey Chestnut, 16-time world champ.
Didn't even drink water?
I don't know. He may have had to drink the water.
But no dunking.
But no dunking the bread, to soften it up. So Joey Chestnut out here doing GOAT things. That is no surprise.
Damn.
Could be one of the greatest athletes of the generation.
Don't know about athlete, but is hot dog eating a sport?
I believe they're classing it as a sport, but I believe America class a lot of things quite weirdly. So.
And so do the Olympics. Can't even get squash into the Olympics. So.
Wow. It is coming in.
Eze finally scoring a goal.
Yep. Thank God for both of us.
Kicking off his season.
Because he's still in my fantasy.
Still in my fantasy, yep.
How did your fantasy go?
Terrible.
Oh, really? Mine actually still went okay.
Mine went fine because I had Mbeumo and I had Eze in my team, but I got rid of Isaac 1 week prematurely because obviously he came out with 9 points. Kevin De Bruyne got 1 point for me. So, and then there was the Newcastle beating Tottenham that affected Arsenal conceding that affected. So all my defense was pretty shocking.
Yeah,
and Mbeumo and Eze were the highlights I think coming out of that week.
I don't know why I've still got Nkunku in here. He scored 1 point in every single game, but I keep switching out my keeper, and I don't want to take a transfer where I lose points.
Right.
So hopefully I've got Neto in for this week, or for 2 weeks' time. But Nkunku is the next to go for me.
And also, before we leave, where does Raheem Sterling fit into that Arsenal side?
I think he is going to be I think he'll have an important role to play. I think he's still a top-class player. Like, he showed he's got 20-plus goal contributions last season or something. He's going to sit in behind Saka on the right, where hopefully nothing happens to Saka. But if he needs to rotate out, we can come on and be the impact player off the bench.
Bit of injury cover, maybe.
Yeah, and then the rotation, like it's a long season, Champions League, all that sort of stuff. Just he has that extra depth, that experience. Obviously, he's won a title before with the City. So it was an interesting signing. I don't hate it.
Yep.
But yeah.
Some interesting signings across the board on transfer deadline day. I'm excited for our little CDM. It looks like we do need it in the midfield, especially after selling McTominay for some reason. And then we have quote-unquote world-class Casemiro not doing so well.
Class. He was world-class.
He surprised me, actually. He surprised me at how bad he was. I thought he was. Like, last season, he was one of our standouts. This season, it's like, oh, boy.
It's the Gary Neville game. Is it the Gary Neville game?
Is it the Gary Neville season?
I don't think it will be. I think Casemiro is if he wants it.
Yeah,
he
should be one of our better players. Is the issue?
The best player in the team.
Yeah, he shouldn't be sticking out like a sore
He showed he can at Real Madrid.
Yeah,
and he is just quality. He's got the skills there. He could be if he wants it.
Yeah, we'll see. Time will tell.
I think that's the case. I think that's all we've got. We've got going to be back for Friday. We're going to film it on Thursday though. Be back for some tips on Friday. The NFL kicks off with the Kansas City Chiefs
losing to Ravens.
They're going to win by 1 million points. Done plenty of fantasy drafts. If I said I was in 4 fantasy teams, is that too many?
Yes.
Okay.
4 separate teams, not even 4 leagues?
No, 4 leagues. 4 separate teams and 4 separate leagues.
Yeah, 4 separate teams is ridiculous. That's crazy.
I co-own 2 of them. So me and my brother co-own 2 of them, and then I'm in my own 2. So
you're going to have a nightmare managing that.
Well, yeah, I had 2 drafts last night. 30 seconds per pick was rapid. We got through the drafts in half an hour.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is quick.
That is very quick.
Pressure cooking in that oven when you're trying to be a GM of a couple different teams. And one of them was the co-owner with my brother, and he was in Milan. So we were trying to coordinate that, decide our picks. He's in Milan. Like, the stress is already here.
Yeah.
But we'll get kicked off this Friday. I'm going to have a same-game multi for that game.
Nice.
Locked and loaded, ready to go. So look forward to that.
Bring on the Rugby Championship, game 2.
Rugby Championship, that is going to be sick. NFL, college football, no Premier League.
Sad.
NPC, baby. A lot to get into for the weekend. We'll see you next time. Boom.
See ya.